What's up, guys? This is House Kit MMA, and today I'm going to be going over my top 5 Ultimate Fighter winner flops. Now, this does not mean that these guys and gal were bad fighters. It just simply means that they either had a lackluster record in the UFC or they just had a lack of fights in the UFC. Number 1 on this list is Jesse Taylor. Jesse Taylor won Season 7 and Season 25 of The Ultimate Fighter. While on Season 7, he beat guys like Mike Dolce and Tim Crater to find himself in the finals. But after he won his semifinals bout, him and a couple of other guys went out on the town. Taylor ultimately kicked out the window of a limousine. If that was the worst thing he did that night, he'd been doing pretty good. But he then goes into a casino and harasses some cocktail waitresses, and I'm sure he harassed some folks that held other professions as well. He at one point pops off about, "Do you know who I am?" to somebody, which is hilarious because by the time you're a semifinalist on the show's like 2 months away from being aired on Spike back then, and these days ESPN. So nobody knows who you are, especially back then. So I found that pretty funny. So Dana White catches wind of this and he tells Taylor, like, dude, yeah, you're not fighting in the finals. But he did end up fighting in the finale, just not in the finals. He fought CB Dalloway and lost via Peruvian necktie. And 9.5, 10 years later, he ends up on season 25 of The Ultimate Fighter, which was a redemption season with guys like Joe Stevenson, Diego Lima, and James Krause on it. And he kind of runs through everybody in the competition, finds himself in the finals against Diego Lima, beats Diego Lima, and pretty soon after that, pops for a banned substance and never fights in the UFC again. Number 2 on this list is Colton Smith. Colton Smith won season 16 of The Ultimate Fighter. He didn't really beat anybody of any notoriety on the show, but he did beat Mike Ricci in the finals. But after that, he went on to lose 3 straight against Michael Chiesa, Robert Whitaker, and Carlos Diego Ferreira. Both guys are not bad to lose to, but he didn't go on to fight in the UFC after those 3 losses, making him number 2 on this list. Neil Magny fought on the same season and was a semifinalist and wound up having a pretty good career. Number 3 on this list is Nico Montano. Nico Montano won season 26 of The Ultimate Fighter. She beat girls like Lauren Murphy and Montana De La Rosa in the house, and then went on to face Roxanne Modafferi, beats her, becomes the Ultimate Fighter Season 26 champion. She was going to end up fighting Valentina Shevchenko pretty soon after that, but wound up hospitalized due to weight cutting complications, and pretty soon after that, she got popped for a banned substance, gets suspended for a little while, and then she ends up fighting Juliana Pena, loses a unanimous decision, and then never fought in the UFC again. I think she was pretty good. I think she was a good fighter. I think she was plagued with injuries, and it just, sometimes it just doesn't work out for you. Number 4 on this list is my boy Jonathan Brookins. He won season 12 of The Ultimate Fighter, and he had one of the more dominant showings in the tournament. He won 4 fights to find himself in the finals. He won 2 by rear naked choke, and the other 2 by pretty dominant unanimous decision. He then fights Michael Johnson in the finals, loses the first round, but wins the second and third in pretty dominant fashion, making him the Ultimate Fighter Season 12 champion. Pretty soon after that, he fights Eric Koch, loses a decision, but he then went on to knock Wagner Hocha out. But after that, he dropped 2 straight to Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. And after that, He went on to fight in other promotions, going 3-5. So he's number 4. Number 5 is James Wilkes. James Wilkes won season 9 of The Ultimate Fighter. He beat Frank Lester twice and Che Mills to find himself in the finals. He then went on to defeat DeMarcus Johnson to win the show. And then he lost to Matt Brown. He beat Peter Sabata, which was a pretty good win. And then he goes on to lose to Claude Patrick, and he never fought in the UFC after that. He did end up having 2 different fights scheduled against Rory McDonald and Amir Sadala, but he hurt himself preparing for both of those fights. So I think he's another guy that was pretty good, but ended up plagued with injury. That happens sometimes. Professional sports just doesn't work out for people. But this is House Cat MMA, and that's all I have on that.